Hey everybody, Tekking101 here. Just got back from class. I'm heading up later again, so I figured in the meantime, why not do a One Piece review? Yeah, okay, this is a good one. This is a really good one. This is chapter 841, To the East Blue. It's the chapter that kind of ties Sanji's backstory back to the present storyline, where at least where we, pick up where we thought Sanji's past was. Like the past arc that we got back in the Baratier when he was talking about how he met Zeph, this connects to that, which brings us to the present storyline. So, not a really, horrendously long flashback with Sanji and the Germa Double Six, but only about maybe 3 or 4 chapters, but it really painted a good picture on exactly what his relationship was, and it's actually a little bit confusing to me in this one, but let's go through this. So, in the last chapter, Judgy realizes that Sanji is just nothing more than just a normal human, and like, how dare you be just a normal human? If you aren't going to be a super-powered child, I don't want you at all. So, he locks up Sanji in an iron mask and just tosses him in the dungeon, tells the rest of the country that he's dead, and just goes about, with his life, and trains his other kids, and hopefully they'll get stronger, and they are improving very well. It's seeming like they're going to become adults, like their outer shell is developing. So we see Sanji in the dungeon, and it's not like his life is horrible. They're still giving him food and pretty much whatever he asks for. Like, he asks for cookbooks, and they give him pretty much whatever he asks for. They take off the mask whenever he has to eat, so I don't even understand what the mask is even for. It just seems like it just seems like something to connect back to Duval, because Duval had the iron mask and it looks very similar to his. So I don't even know why they decided, like, he's already locked in the dungeon, oh no, we gotta make double sure that no one notices him. We should put the iron mask around his face in the dungeon that nobody ever goes into. Okay, whatever. Judgy's just a dick. So he's down there, and he wants to go, he's remembering times when he went to go visit his mom, right? So his mom is on the other side of the Germa Double Six, the entire country's on a ship, essentially, but it's like a really huge ship. So he remembers the time he went to go give his mom some food he cooked, and so we get to see Sanji's mother over here, and you may notice that she looks pretty much exactly like Sanji and her children, except for the fact that she doesn't have the curly eyebrow. That's a trait that's clearly of the father. But I don't think we get her name, but it's rather interesting that she is shown, because that gives us, like, okay, so Sanji and his brothers and sisters were not created the same way as the Germa Double Six. I think it was stated that those are Judgy's children, but at least we got confirmation now that they're not like clones, alright? So Sanji and his brothers and sisters were all born normally, and then were just, they were augmented with this technology when they were probably in their infancy, and they all took to it, but Sanji didn't. And Reiju goes on to explain exactly, Reiji, sorry. I think her name was originally written as Reiju, and I always keep wanting to say Reiju, but I think it's Reiji now because we're ending everything with a G. That's kind of the theme here. But she brings up something interesting, that all of the brothers, as in Yonji, Niji, and Ichiji, they took to the modifications, and as an after effect of that, they pretty much have no, like, empathy or no sympathy, or their emotions were basically just destroyed in the process for greater power. Now, Reiji states that while the modifications did take to her in the sense that she's super strong, and we see this, she bends the bars of Sanji's cell, she still maintains her emotions, her empathy. So she says to Sanji, essentially, like, she's like, look, I'm not on your side, because she was always the one that always patched Sanji up after. It's like, I'm not on your side, I'm smart enough to know not to get, because if I come out that I'm sympathetic to you, they're just gonna jump down my fucking throat, and I don't want that. So she's still very much out for herself, she's still very selfish, but she still at least shows a little bit more sympathy to Sanji's cause. So eventually what happens is that the Germa Double Six has to travel over the Red Line. Now remember, the Red Line is just a huge 10,000 foot high continent above sea level, and it's just one solid continent that just stretches the entire length of the planet right along like the Prime Meridian. So the Germa Double Six's entire military force, which is composed of those the main ship that has like the treads underneath it, that connects together to make the actual country, and then all the other ships that have, like, they look like sea slugs, like a giant Den Mushi that are, like, piloting these ships. The reason that they use those things is because they slugs will actually just latch onto the side of the damn Red Line continent and just crawl up it. So you have this image of, like, because they're originally from the North Blue, so you have this image with a bunch of these snail ships just or these slugs, wherever they are, just snatching onto the side of the Red Line and just crawling up a bit with the ships attached on their backs, like a complete vertical thing. So that's how they get to the other side of these continents, which is pretty cool. Yeah, it's very, very imaginative, Oda, if nothing else. I almost said Kubo there. Very imaginative. So that's the story of how Sanji arrived in the East, anyway. So while in the East, they were apparently hired to go and fight in this war against a country. I think it's called Korea. It's designed after, like, a Romanian city or whatever. But they go to this place, this island, and there's this massive war going on. And they just, the Germa Double Six does what they do best. They're military. They're like, they go, and whoever's the highest bidder, they're a family of mercenaries essentially, and they go and fight this war. While they're there, I think Reiji and Sanji, they're like, okay, this is like your best if you want to leave, like, now is your chance to do it. Like, this is really the best shot you got. So Reiji frees Sanji from the dungeon, and he goes up into his father's room to try to get the key to take off his iron helmet. And while he's in there, Judgy finds him. Judgy sees him rummaging around in his room. He's like, who the hell's in my room? Oh, it's just you, Sanji. Oh, damn, I thought someone was actually going on here. Okay, whatever. Oh, what? And, Judgy is completely indifferent to Sanji leaving. Sanji's, like, trying to, like, oh, I gotta hurry up and get the key to escape Dad. And Dad shows up, and he's just like, oh, you want to leave? Oh, fuck, okay, awesome. Now, this is the part that's a little confusing to me. I don't know if you found this confusing at all. Okay. Why did Judgy just not kill Sanji? Like, that's just, like, I'm not saying I want Sanji to die. I'm just saying, like, Judgy doesn't want him around. He even comes out and says, like, you're a blemish to this family. You're a pathetic disgrace. You're not the same as my other kids. I don't like you. I just want you out of my life. Why don't you, you're a ruthless fucking dictator, essentially, like the best champion, this cold-hearted warrior that's, like, slaughtered. Like, so many bloods of so many different races are on your hand. You're just the king of this mercenary country. And I'm just thinking the smartest thing to do in this situation is just to kill Sanji and just chuck his body in the fucking ocean. Like, I'm just saying, if I was the advisor to the Germa Double Six, and he's like, yeah, Sanji's just a complete disappointment to my family, I don't want him around, I'm like, oh, well, maybe you should kill him. I'm just saying, Sanji used to be my favorite Straw Hat, before Frankie showed up, of course, so I don't want any wrongdoing to come with him, and that would kind of, defeat the purpose of the story. You can't really have Sanji die when he's one of the main characters, but I'm just saying, Judgy's like, I don't care enough, I don't care about you at all, but I care enough somehow to keep you locked up in a cell, make sure you're well fed, make sure you have enough supplies and everything to keep yourself content, but I don't care about you at all. I wish you would just go away. Or, okay, second option, if you don't want to kill him, maybe because you feel like, oh, he's still my child or whatever, if you don't want to kill him, or maybe he was holding out some hope that maybe Sanji would develop his powers someday. Maybe he was just a late bloomer, but that doesn't seem to be the case. But okay, second option, Sanji comes up and says, I'm leaving, Dad, and you're not going to stop me. And Judgy's like, oh, good. Okay, as long as you're okay with it. All right, then get the hell out of here. Why not just do that to begin with? Not just be like, all right, Sanji, come and sit on your papa's lap here. Like, all right, well, listen, you know how I told you were a complete disgrace to this family and I didn't want you around? Yes, Dad. Yeah, well, turns out you're a complete disgrace to this family and I don't want you around, so, I'm gonna go chuck you on that random island out in the middle of nowhere. Do not say that you're from this family or the Germa Double Six at all, or I'll find you and slit your throat. Okay, happy birthday, son, and then just chucks him to the fucking island. Like, why not just do that? Why not just, like, knock his ass out and just drop him on some island and be like, okay, see ya, we're out of here, just dumping you. I'm just saying, the fact that you're leaving him locked up in the dungeon, that doesn't seem to be, like, the smartest move, okay? Well, anyway, Judgy says, fine, you want to leave? That's cool with me. You can even take the key, unlock your helmet, whatever. I don't even really know why I put it on you. But, just to let you know, one thing, if you're going to take any piece of advice from your old man, here it is. Never say that you're my son. Never say that you're a member of the Germa Double Six or the Vinsmoke family. You're not part of us. We don't want you. You're just a blemish on this freaking, on the face of the teenage boy that is Germa double six. I don't know where this analogy's going, but basically do not tell anyone. So Sanji's like, whatever, he accepts. So he leaves, and he's like being, and Reiji and him are in the middle of this war zone. The Germa Double Six are fighting against this, other, faction, and they notice a cruise ship. And the Germa Double Six are like, should we attack this cruise ship? And they're like, no, the cruise ship is not part of, this action or anything. They're not part of the country, just let it be. The cruise ship is Orbit. The cruise ship that we see Sanji on at the beginning of his flashback with Zeph, how he met Zeph. Zeph attacked the Orbit where Sanji was a trainee chef, and that's how that whole event's, how he got to the Baratie. How he got to the Baratie. So, that's pretty much where the flashback ends there. Sanji, apparently, we don't see him getting on the Orbit. We don't see him, how he, came up with that. But we can assume, he boards the Orbit, and he, the people on there are like, who are you? And just like, pardon me, I'm just a minor orphan boy, but I would like to be a chef. And they just put him to work on the cruise ship, and they got attacked by Zeph maybe a few months, maybe a year or so later. I think he met Zeph when he was 8. I think maybe 10. I think he left the family when he was 8. So maybe I'll make a year or two on this ship, just working as a chef, and then eventually. And actually, it actually calls back because at the beginning of that flashback with Zeph, and when he's on the Orbit, Sanji gets into an argument with a couple of other chefs on the cruise ship where they're eating the scraps that the customers didn't want. And Sanji's like, oh, that's disgusting. How dare you eat the scraps off the plate? That's like somebody was eating that, and that they were going to throw that away, and now you're eating it like a starving dog. That's disgusting. And then when he meets Zeph, and they were stranded on that rock for like 30 days, that's when he came to realize that, I can't be so picky. I mean, like, this bread is all moldy, and the old me would have said, oh, moldy bread, I wouldn't eat that, but here I am trying to survive, and so it's really important that I eat this, regardless of mold, So that's like a carryover from his upbringing, Sanji was still raised in a noble household. He was still raised in this certain way, and then, it takes a while to get that out of you. But then he meets Zeph, and then Baratie, and then that kind of makes it all okay. And now we get to the Sanji we are right now. But the last scene of the chapter is we cut back from the flashback. We see Luffy's fight with Cracker, and it's been 11 hours. 11 hours since he fought Cracker, and Cracker's whole thing is just, I can make an infinite amount of biscuits to attack you, and I can form them into creatures to attack you. We see Luffy, who has swollen up to, I think, the biggest he's ever been. I think the largest amount of food he's ever intaken, at least we've seen anyway, because you usually see the comedic effect of Luffy chomping down on meat, and he gets really ballooned, like in the Whiskey Peak arc, but here he is just massive. He's like 3 times the size of Cracker, and all you see around him is just all of Cracker's, like, soldiers being, like, shoot on, and Cracker's just like, oh my god, could you quit eating all this shit? And it turns out, like, Nami's like, well, he says he can create an infinite supply of crackers, but the stamina, on the other hand, that's another story. He doesn't have an infinite amount of stamina, so Luffy's just like, I'm just going to keep eating his crackers until he runs out of stamina. And we see Cracker there, who's panting pretty bad, like he has drained a lot of his energy. Now, usually with Devil Fruits, we see that you can be used, like, indefinitely without any serious stamina effects. Like Luffy can keep stretching all he wants. There doesn't seem to be any, like, I can only stretch this far for this many times a day, and then I get tired. Now, if he overexerts himself in a fight or using his hockey or something, that's another story. But just the act of using his power doesn't seem to really tax him all that much, But with certain Devil Fruits, as we saw with Law's Op No Mi, and with Cracker's Bisque No Mi, it does actually tax the user the more you use it. So he cannot just create an infinite supply of crackers. So eventually he's going to get worn down. I would say that Luffy definitely has more stamina than this Cracker dude, especially since he's full of food right now. Although I don't know if this is going to come back to bite Luffy in the ass, though. If it's going to be like, oh, I can't eat, I'm too full, I can't move, shit. I don't know, but at least he's discovered Cracker's weakness, I guess I should say. So we'll see. We're probably going to wrap up this fight one way or the other in the next chapter, whether or not it's a draw, or Luffy defeats Cracker, or Luffy just passes out and falls asleep from eating so much food, and then Cracker just escapes because he's low on stamina. I don't know. But that's the chapter. Pretty solid one. High point is, of course, we get to see Sanji's mom, tie back the flashback to where we know Sanji's past with Zeph. Yeah, I'm looking forward to where this fight with Cracker and Luffy is going to, how this is going to conclude, and what's the next destination for them. I also want to catch back up with Pedro and Brook and see what they're up to. Last time we saw them, they were in town, and they saw the egg dude Tamago talking about Jinbei and things. So I'm wondering what they're up to. Maybe we can cut back to that now that we're back in the present now. But yeah, that was the chapter. Oh, and one last thing before I go. The cover page is very funny this week. The cover page is of Whitebeard being chewed on by a bunch of goats, like gnawing on his beard. I don't know why I found that funny. I just found that really funny. I think it's just nice to see Oda draw Whitebeard again, really, because I miss that guy. The Marineford arc it just wrapped up in the English dub, so Whitebeard was awesome. Can we all agree Whitebeard was awesome? Let's have a poll. Whitebeard was awesome. Yeah, he was. That better be at 100%. All right. See you guys. Signing out.